All right, so now it's being recorded. Thank you very much for joining today's webinar. Let me first, let me share my screen so we could start from the introduction and then we'll move on to the actual presentation. So let's just give the first set us a goals. Today's webinar, it's all about how to solve accounts payable inefficiency by adding some of these approval automation tools. So before we'll jump into the actual presentation, to the actual demo, let me first introduce myself. My name is Alex Kesselman. I'm a solution engineer here at ApprovalMax, and today I'll be your host. Let's start with a quick agenda, just so we know what would be our topics for discussion. We'll start with a short introduction to ApprovalMax, where we came from, what do we do, what are the key features, and where do we fit into the app stack. Then we'll talk about some of the key capabilities and how ApprovalMax can actually fit into your app stack. Then we'll take a look on the actual product demo, the live demo. So we'll see the way workflows work, the way our approvers will approve things, the way you can configure our notifications, things like that. Then we'll talk a little bit about the use cases, some of our customers, and the way ApprovalMax helped them to resolve some of those accounts payable inefficiencies. Then we'll talk about the partner program, and I'll talk a little bit about the benefits of being partners with us and who are already our partners. And at the very end, we'll have a Q&A section, though I would highly encourage you to ask any questions along the way, just so we won't miss anything. And so we'll have all of those questions at the end of the session, so we can run through all of those questions straight away. All right, so the goals are set. Let's now move on to the actual presentation, to the actual demo. And I'll start with a short introduction to ApprovalMax. So about 6 years ago, in 2016, ApprovalMax came to the game, came to the market. And since that time, we became quite a big part of both Xero and QuickBooks Online ecosystems. If you'll take a look on the Xero marketplace, for example, you will find more than 200 plus 5-star rating reviews from the real customers who's using ApprovalMax in their day-to-day business. At the same time, in 2020, ApprovalMax became Xero App Partner of the Year, starting from New Zealand market. Then in 2021, we became once again Xero App Partner of the Year, but this time in UK market. And then in 2022, this year, we became the finalist for the same award. And we are very proud of these awards. However, what are we doing? So what is the main idea behind ApprovalMax? Well, if we'll think about different ways how we can approve our financial documents, we'll find that a lot of companies out there, they still have some of those paper-based approval systems, which is pretty much very, very outdated. So managers would literally print out the document, go find the manager to approve that. They will receive the physical stamp on it, and they will send it via postal mail, which is very, very outdated since we're all trying to live in the sustainable society. We're all trying to go paperless. And especially during the pandemic times, a lot of us start working from home. So printing out and finding the person to put a physical stamp on it becomes simply impossible. Therefore, a lot of companies switch to the email-based approval systems, which are fine if you're still a very small group of approvers, maybe 1-2 people from your team who is approving everything. Though once team is getting larger and larger, it becomes really a game of cat and mouse, trying to understand who would be the person to approve that particular financial document. So rather than you'll be keeping all of that in your head, rather than you'll be sending all of those multiple notifications and keep track on everything what's going on within your account, create a workflow, create a sequence of approval steps, multi-step, multi-level approval workflow, where each and every person within this workflow will know exactly what they need to approve based on the rules that you provide them. From the approver standpoint, on the other hand, the whole process becomes very clean and very transparent, because on the time they need to approve something, they will receive a push notification or an email notification from us, and they will see straight away all the essential information that is required to make their approval decision, including line items, attachments, bill to PO matching, budget checking, and things like that. From the security standpoint, you can shield all of this sensitive information from unauthorized access, so none of your users really should have access to your accounting software. So they won't see all the cash flow, all the financial documents that flowing through your account. So in that sense, you can simply give them permission to use only ApprovalMax, and you can give them rules on what type of documents they allow to approve. From your side, from an accountant or bookkeeper, the whole process becomes very transparent and very clear. And most of all, you will receive the clear audit log on what's actually happened to each and every request. Because per each of our approvals, upon the final approval, we are generating a thing called the audit report, which is simply as a PDF document showing you by whom exactly and when exactly that document was approved. And this audit report is automatically streamlined into your accounting software. So that is on the theory where we stand into this ecosystem. But let's talk a little bit about the key capabilities of ApprovalMax. So the main and the core idea behind ApprovalMax would be its workflows. It might be that you're working only with purchase orders. It might be that you're working with bills, or maybe with the sales invoices or credit notes, or you're working with all of those documents. For each of these documents, we have a separate workflow. So you can create a process, you can create the way it should look like from your organization, and the way they will be approving those things. But it's not only about the workflows themselves. There's actually much more behind that to make your spend control even more robust. So things like bill to purchase order matching, let's say, and you can match many bills to many purchase orders and allocate certain amounts from those things. Things like budget checking. So your approvers in real time will be able to compare budgets against the bills or purchase orders they're approving at the moment. Things like customizable reports and audit trails. So you can easily create a report based on different criteria. Let's say you want to see all the bills that are pending approval and who are we waiting for, bills that were already approved and how long the decision took, and bills that were already paid and what was the payment date. At the same time, you can see all the history of all the changes and all the comments that were made per each request in this simple history log, which is called the audit trail. There's an additional capabilities for fraud detection and analysis tools. So let's say if someone is trying to bypass the workflow, or if someone is trying to change things after the final approval, you'll be able to track such potential fraudulent activities, and you'll be able to create a report out of this. And most of all of these features are included into the mobile app, so you can easily raise your bills and purchase orders. You'll be able to approve things. You'll be able to do the bill to PO matching and check your budgets against the request, make comments. All of that is available in the mobile app for both iOS and Android. If we'll take a look here on the diagram on the right, you will see an oversimplified form of where do we fit into this app stack. So on top of things, we have our data capture tools. It doesn't really matter which tool you're using in your day-to-day work. It might be one of these tools like Dext or Auto Entry, or maybe HubDoc or Data Molino, or any other tools that are connected to your Xero account, or maybe you're simply manually enter data into Xero itself. Once you've digitized your invoice, once you have it in the electronic form, simply put that into a waiting approval state in Xero, and that's it. ApprovalMax will automatically pull this document and run through the sequence of your approval steps. Nothing else should be done. There is no need for you to print it out or send it via email and keep track on all of those things. ApprovalMax will do everything for you. We will send notifications and we will keep track that everything is being approved. And once we'll collect all of the decisions from all of the decision makers, only then this request will go into our Xero or QuickBooks Line account under awaiting payment, so we'll be ready to release the money. So that's the theory. Now let's take a look on the actual demo and see the way ApprovalMax actually works. And what I want to start with is to give you a bit of a context. So when you'll start your free trial, as well, if you after this webinar will decide to start a free trial, you will have a 15 days to trial all the different features that we have here in our ApprovalMax account. So once you'll build a workflow and once you'll send invitations to all of your users, the first screen that they will see here, it calls requires my decision. And that is a very important screen. Imagine you're working with many Xero entities and you're working both with purchase orders, bills, credit notes, and things like that. So what we've done here, that requires my decision, collects everything that awaiting your approval across board, across all these different organizations and across all the different workflows. So there is no need for you to go into the main menu, select what you need to approve, and just trying to understand what's actually going on. Because all of these requests will be just within one list, and you can easily navigate on what is awaiting your approval. On the right side, on the other hand, I will see the actual request. So for example, this bill from ApprovalMax Germany GmbH, it's being submitted via Xero to Unlimited Money Limited. I can see straight away what is my total amount. I can see my two buttons, approve and reject. I can see my line items, and I can see straight away what is the coding, to which department it belongs to, which is my tracking category. If there was any attachments, let's say you've sent it via HubDoc or maybe via Auto Entry, these invoices, these attachments will be automatically streamlined into your ApprovalMax account. So your approvers in real time, we'll be able to compare that either in side-by-side view or in full screen mode. Then, if you're using Zero Budget Manager, you'll be able to pull those budgets from Zero into ApprovalMax, so your approvers in real time will be able to compare budgets against the requests. So like in my example, this bill from ApprovalMax Germany GmbH, it's coded to the product department and it contains account code general expenses. Therefore, I will only see budget for that particular department and for that particular account code. So as you can see here, I have my remaining budget of £141,000, and the impact of the bill that I'm approving right now, it's only £438. So my status is still okay. I still can approve that. It's still within the budgets. However, if I want to dig into the numbers, if I want to see some additional information about this request, about these budgets, I can easily click on the budget itself, and it will show me the overall picture of what is my budget for the full period of time, what is my remaining budget, how many bills and purchase orders were already approved, and how many of them are on approval. Same goes for month-by-month expenditure. I can easily see if I have overspent somewhere, if I've underspent somewhere. So all of this data is constantly updating from your Zero Budget Manager, and our approvers know exactly what they need to approve and if they're allowed to approve certain things. Then, if you're raising purchase orders, let's say in Zero, or you're allowed to raise purchase orders here in ApprovalMax, and I would say it's even more preferred version, you'll be able to do the bill to purchase order matching. The way it works, in each of your bills, you will find a link called Match with PO. Once you click on this one, it will show you all the purchase orders to that particular supplier. So I have my bills, also I have my bill to ApprovalMax Germany GmbH. Therefore, I will only see purchase orders to that particular supplier. Then I can select which one I want to allocate to. I can allocate certain amounts. Let's say I want to allocate £300 to this purchase order. Click on Save. And now I have a link between my bill and my purchase order. I can see what is my remaining balance. I can see how much money I've allocated. And if I'll expand the list, I'll be able to see the history of this bill to purchase order matching. Then if I'll scroll all the way down here, I will find my approval workflow. So all of my approvers is able to see and track down the progress per each request that pending their approval. So let's say this bill from ApprovalMax Germany GmbH, right now it's under head of department step, where Alex Kesselman, as a head of product, will need to approve that. Once he'll do that, it will skip legal department, it will skip CEO level, because it simply does not fall under the rules. So I can easily see where it will go to next, by whom it was already approved, by whom it was rejected, and things like that. If, for example, I had some additional people here, additional approvers, and I would love to say something to them, or maybe I would like to provide some additional documentation, I'll be able to use my commenting tool here in the bottom. So like, I'll approve it. And now these comments will be stored here under the audit trail, which is sort of like your history log. So you can always trace back what's actually happened to each and every request. And then once we're ready to approve that, simply click on approve. It will disappear from your requires my decision, and it will go straight away into our Zero account under awaiting payment state. So let's take a look. If I'll refresh the page, I will see that now I have my bill from ApprovalMax Germany GmbH sitting here under awaiting payment. And if I'll open this up, I will notice that I have two attachments here. The one, it's an original invoice that we've sent via our OCR tool, let's say, or maybe during the bill creation. The other one, it's a very important one. This audit report, this is something generated by us upon each and every final approval. And this is a document that will show you by whom exactly and when exactly this bill was approved. So let's zoom in a little bit. And here, as you can see, under approval log, I can see that Alex Kesselman, under head of department step, made his decision approved on 23rd of June at 11 a.m. So each and every request will receive such audit report, and then you'll have a document of proof that you're allowed to release the money to your supplier. As easy as that. But now let's take a look on the actual workflow. How would we actually create those approval steps, and how would we provide rules to our work, to our users? So let me give you a bit of a context here first. Though ApprovalMax is a separate company, but we should be considered as an add-on, a plugin to your accounting software, Xero or QuickBooks Online. And actually, spoiler for you, we're right now in the final stage of integrating with NetSuite. So soon it will be available for your NetSuite integration as well. And basically, once you'll connect ApprovalMax account to your accounting software, one very important thing will happen. On the background, via API, we'll sync some of the data points, like list of your suppliers, like your tracking categories, like your account codes, items that you're purchasing, things like that. And with that data, and with the users that we will add into our ApprovalMax account, we'll be able to create a workflow, a matrix. And the way it looks like, I'll show that to you on my bill creation review and approval workflow. So don't be confused. This one was already activated by me. I have already created all of these approval steps, but I will explain you what each and every part here means. So the left side of the screen, it's all the different ways how we're going to pull our bills or how we're going to create our bills in the system. The first and most easiest way would be to simply add your bill, to send your bill into await and approval state in 0. Once it's there, ApprovalMax will automatically pull this document and run through the sequence of your approval steps. That is one way. The second way would be to create your bills in ApprovalMax manually. So you can download our mobile app, you can give permission to certain users to create those bills or purchase orders, and you can allow them to use only certain values. So let's say here, John is only allowed to raise bills for Cambridge Audio and DJI, only for department marketing, and only for account code entertainment. While Alex Kesselman can only raise bills for Airbnb and Qatar Airways, only for same marketing department, and only for account code travel international. That's the second option. The third option would be to receive our bills from Dext Prepare. So if you're using Dext as your main OCR tool, you'll be able to just simply have direct integration between Dext, ApprovalMax, and 0. So once your invoices get digitized, simply send that for approval. It will automatically and instantly appear in your ApprovalMax account, and everyone who should be involved in the approval process, they will receive notification from us. So that's the left side. Now the right side, that's the most important one. That's where we define rules on what each and every person can or cannot approve. So what I want to start with is an auto approval step. This one was designed for those of you who want to approve certain bills automatically. Let's say we have recurring bills, or maybe utility bills, or maybe smaller amounts, things that you're going to pay anyway, and there is no real need to include your humans to approve such things. So in that case, you'll be able to create a list of rules that will be automatically approved. Like in my case, everything that is less than £10 will be automatically approved. Coffee, things like that. Or my utility bills, everything that is less than £300 for account codes, light, power, and heating will be automatically approved as well. Then the next part, it's where the humans are actually involved. And here we can create as many steps, as many approval steps as needed. Simply click on the plus sign. It will create an additional approval step for you. If needed, you can drag it whenever you want to. Let's say this one will be a CFO step. Then, under your approvers, we need to provide a list of users who will be under this step. Let's say it's gonna be Kate and it's gonna be Tim. And so now we have our users, and the next part, just as with the requesters, we need to provide rules on what type of data they allow to approve. Let's say our CFOs will only approve things that are over or equal to £30,000, and only for certain account codes. Let's say Kate will be approving everything that goes for interest, income, and direct expenses, and Tim will be approving everything else except for these two. So I'll create a rule: account does not match interest, income, and direct expenses. Click on done, and we are set to go. It's very agile. You can start with a very simple matrix, maybe with just one approval step, and then you can expand it and make it as complex as you need it. So it's very, very scalable. You can easily add more and more steps, more people, and provide different rules to them. Once done, activate the workflow or update the workflow, and we are set to go. If you're willing to copy this workflow across your different other workflows, let's say you want to see the same workflow in your purchase order site, simply click on the three dots here, click on copy workflow, select organization where you want to copy that to, select workflow, maybe in the purchase orders, click on done, and just like that, within 1 second, we've copied it across. All right, so now let's go back to our presentation and see what is next. So let's talk about the typical client profile. Who would benefit of using ApprovalMax the most? And we see there is 4 main typical client profiles. One is the multiple legal entities. people or companies who have different remote locations, different remote offices, and that makes perfect sense. Because if you want to have some centralized platform where everyone will be talking to each other in cloud, there is no need for you to have desktop app and there is no need for you to maintain those native apps. It is just easier to give access to all of your users across the globe. And by the way, ApprovalMax using ApprovalMax itself. So we're approving things in our own system as well, because a lot of our team members working remotely. So that is a great way for you to give access to everyone from your team working remotely into one platform. The second one is a compliance focused. So all of the non-for-profit school, churches, charity programs, they found a big benefit of using ApprovalMax. First of all, we give 20% discount for non-for-profits. In addition to that, there is a lot of audit trails, there is the audit reports, things that will allow to show exactly where money being spent. The next one is an investor-driven startups. So investors, they want to see how money was spent by their subsidiaries. In that case, they can have a very simple umbrella account where all of their accounts, all of their subsidiaries will have their own workflow, and they can easily manage what's going on with each and every company. They can see the reports, how money was spent, and they can see that everything is going through the compliance. They have all of these approval steps. And the fourth one, it's the high purchasing volume industries, construction, hospitality, events. We have a lot of different case studies with construction industry companies who is managing properties across the globe, and they need to have everything in one place because they want to have their process very efficient. They want to see everything what's going on within their account. And actually the next slide, it's regarding the case studies. And this one is a very interesting one. That is a company, a partner from South Africa who came to us about a year and a half ago, and they have a challenge. So they're working with about 20 farms across the continent, 400 people working for them, some of them working on farms and some of them working in headquarters. And the main challenge for them was that it was simply very decentralized. Farmers would need to, after their work on the field, go back home, create a purchase order maybe by email, send it to their farm manager, and then next morning they will go back to their farms. They won't see anything that if they made any mistake, they won't see that until the evening. So the whole process for them used to take about 2 weeks to process a single invoice. So they came to us, they wanted to implement the workflow. We've created about 30 approval steps for them. All 400 people was involved in the process with different things that they need to approve. And at that point of time, a farmer who is on the field, if he needed something, if he needs to raise the purchase order, he would literally take out his mobile app, create a purchase order, submit it for approval. It will instantly go to his manager, who will see if everything is set up correctly, if all the coding is correct, and they will send it to the next person in line. And the whole approval process for this organization reduced from 2 weeks to just 3 to 4 hours. So it's more than 90% in reduction time for approvals. And if we're talking about the costs per approving the single invoice, we've calculated that before they've implemented ApprovalMax, it costs them $25 to process a single invoice, including all of those manual labor, all of the storage, printing, sending, and just overall time that they are wasting on approving a single invoice. So then, once they've implemented, the price dropped down to $1.3 per invoice. The next one is about the property management tool. So we have one of our customers in Australia, and they're managing about 30 properties across Australia. Per each property, they have a property manager. And if they're on the site, if they need to purchase something, before they would use an Excel spreadsheet, they would create line items that they need to purchase. Then it will go through a sequence of different steps. They will send email notifications to different people from their team. And it took them about 10 days, if I'm not mistaken, to process a single invoice or single purchase order. So we've implemented a quite simple one. It's just a 3 approval step where a property manager would send it to his manager. Then it will go to the headquarters. They can easily see what was an expenditure. These automatic notifications will be sent across board to everyone who should be involved in the process. And average approval time was reduced from 3 days to just 1 hour. So these are just 2 out of many different case studies. And if we'll take a look on the client profile and who is working with us already. So we'll see some of those big names like Mazars, PwC, BDO, Grant Thornton, and so on, so on. And with that slide, I want to talk about one of the benefits if you are an accounting, if you're an accounting firm or bookkeeping firm, because in ApprovalMax we do have the special partner program, which gives you a lot of benefits if you're working with customers who's using Xero or QuickBooks Online. So first of all, with this partner program, you will receive a special prices that you can ask your partner account manager for. In addition to that, you will receive one free ApprovalMax license premium package for your own internal use or for demo purposes. You'll receive the priority support over email or by phone, dedicated account manager that will help you with the trainings, with the onboarding process and things like that. And also you'll find an access to the partner portal where you'll find all these different marketing materials and everything that can help you with introduction your customers to ApprovalMax. So you can find our partner program under partner@approvalmax.com, partner.approvalmax.com, and there's no obligation for you, but it gives you a lot of benefits. So talking about the pricing, it's a very important question. So the whole pricing model is purely based on the amount of organizations you're willing to onboard. There is no limitation on amount of users. There is no limitation on amount of requests you can process. Add as many as you want, process as many as you need. You can have one umbrella account where you'll add all of your customers, or if you're working with multi-entity environment, you can add all of those organizations under just one account, and you'll have access to all of them. Then you need to decide on the plan. There is standard, advanced, and premium plans. Each of them have different set of features like purchase order approval workflow, bill approval workflow, credit notes, sales invoices, customizable reports, DEX integration, and mobile app for standard edition, which will cost you £32 per month. Within an advanced plan feature, you will have the budget checking, automatic approval step, and contact approval workflow. Within the premium workflow, within the premium plan, you will find all of these features plus standalone workflows, which can be used for pretty much any other approval policies in your organization, like, for example, HR process or maybe legal contract approvals, things like that. And also you'll have the priority support, which will reduce the time from our support team to come back to you with an answer. If you're a non-for-profit organization, you can claim your 20% discount off the price. If you're willing to go with an annual contract, it will give you an additional 17% discount of the price. And if you're willing to onboard more than 5 organizations at once, it will give you an additional volume discount. But you can always play around with a calculator under approvalmax.com/pricing and see what will be the final price for you. Or if you need some sales quote, you can always drop us a line at sales@approvalmax.com and our team will come back to you shortly. All right, so now we're coming to the last part, is the questions and answers. Let me know if you have any questions. Okay, seems like there is no questions. Well then, thank you very much for attending today's webinar. Hope that was useful. I hope to see you as one of our happy customer. And thank you very much. Have a lovely day. Bye-bye.